Good evening, good afternoon, morning from wherever you're joining us today. Welcome to this special session of the Africa Football Business Show. This is a special session because today we get to talk to the people who are normally closest to the action, if not the action. Tonight's evening's session is themed Coaching and Coaching Education in Africa. And we are lucky to have with us two very experienced coaches to share their insights, knowledge, and experience in this field. But before we go ahead and let them introduce themselves, we just take a moment to appreciate our partners, sponsors who make these possible. And that is OTB Africa, Palma Sports, See Beyond Leadership Forum, and iSport LAN. So thank you very much for joining us. And we'll go right in and let our guests introduce themselves. We have Sanyin Alaji and Tabiso Kumalo, or popularly known as Boys. So we'll let you go ahead, Sanyin, please.
Good evening to all who are watching us. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm Sanyin Alagic, a pro licensed coach with more than 20 years coaching experience. Most recently, I was coach in Kenya in Nairobi City Stars, and in my more than 20 years experience like the coach, I coached in 3 continents and won the trophies in the 3 continents for different countries. So really big experience also with the under 21 national team Bosnia and Herzegovina. So that will be that. Also across the Europe in Slovakia, Gulf, Kuwait, Bahrain. So big experience. In that time, I could really see the differences in playing style, and I could compare them and contrast them. So the level of the players, their mentality, their approach. So I think it can be interesting conversation tonight.
Thank you very much, Sanyi, and welcome to the Africa Football Business Show. Over to you, Boys Kumalo.
First of all, thank you for having me. My name is Boise Kumalo, originally from South Africa. Currently live in the United States. I came to the States when I was young, when I was 16. I grew up just like all the other kids in Africa, playing soccer on the streets. There's a lot that we're going to talk about, and I don't want to give it away right now, but I used to be an ex-professional soccer player, and now I'm a full-time coach. I currently coach at AFC Ann Arbor and Michigan Rush, and I also have a foundation that me and 2 of my buddies from South Africa started it. What we do is we help kids from South Africa come to the U.S. to get education. We also host tournaments in South Africa. Another thing that I do is I work with inner city kids in Detroit to promote the beautiful game. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Boys Kumalo. We'll just stay with you, Tabiso, and ask you dig a little bit more into your career. How did you decide to get into football coaching?
I got into coaching, to be quite honest, when I first moved to the United States. So I moved in with a host family, and my dad was a basketball coach / football soccer coach, and he used to coach the girls team, and he took me with him to coach the girls team, and I used to watch him coach, and I realized, man, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, because all he did was watch videotapes and try to translate what he saw in the videotapes to coach the girls, but he did not have the right technique to show the players what to do or how to do it. And one day we just happened to talk about it. I was like, hey, look, man, I think I can kind of help you coach the girls. And at this time I was like 16. So whenever he explained something, I will show how to do it. And then that kind of helped me build my confidence in in speaking with the players, and I started the coaching at the young age. And then after my soccer career, let me back up. Before that, I used to do a lot of clinics. Like in the U.S., they have summer clinics. I used to travel throughout the states, just doing different clinics, meeting different coaches. And the good thing about meeting different coaches is that you learn a lot of things. You learn how to deal with people. You learn how to run sessions. And then I kind of slowly but surely started falling in love with this coaching thing. And I told myself, hey, once I'm done playing, I'm going to get into coaching full time. And that's what I did. I got into coaching, and I started focusing on getting my coaching qualifications. Of course, here in the US is different than Europe and Africa. So I started doing that. I started with my C license, but I could have went and took the A license here in the US. And I told myself, you know what? I need to crawl before I walk, because I need to start slow. Just because I played, it doesn't mean I know everything. So that's how I got into coaching.
Excellent. As you got into coaching, especially as you decided to take your certifications, did you have any mentors or people you looked up to?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of mentors, especially back in Africa. And my mentors in Africa, the funny thing is, they did not have the qualifications. They knew the game. Now that I'm older, some of the things that they used to teach us, I kind of disagree with it now because I'm older. But as a young player and a young coach, you kind of look up to them and you believe everything they say because they've produced a lot of players. A lot of people listen to them. But once I moved to the States, that's when I realized how important it is to get like your coaching qualifications. And this is something that I'm also telling my friends in Africa, like, hey, you gotta get your coaching qualifications to kind of make yourself better and become a better coach. But some of my mentors, I mean, one guy that comes in my head right now is Ian Palmer. He was a good close friend of mine and a mentor, somebody that I looked up to. So he's one guy I can say, yeah, he was my mentor coming up as a young player and a coach.
Excellent. Just a few points to pick up there. The importance of starting from scratch and getting to learn the game step by step. And also, I just wanted to highlight the importance of having mentors within the coaching education system. Over to you, Sanyin, and I hope I get your name right.
Yes.
How did you get into coaching, and did you have any people you looked up to as you decided to take this path in the sports world?
Yeah, I could say it was interesting story. You know, I was also a football player, maybe not in the same level like Tabiso, but yeah, I was a football player, and I was lucky to start very early my coaching career with 21 years. And I started in my club where I spent my youth and playing first team. I was in that time in the college faculty of the sport, and I was still active player. And the man who called me, it was my friend, also young coach, Emir, and CEO in that time, Mr. Daniel Piric. And why I mentioned his name, because I think that is the man who had been big impact on my career through my life in some periods, you know. And I started very early, very young, and very soon I become full-time part coach, you know. And in that time I decided to leave my active career because it was impossible, and to totally dedicate to my education and development of coaching.
Excellent. And as you mentioned in your introduction, you have coached in 3 different continents: Europe, Asia, and most recently here in Kenya, Africa, with Nairobi City Stars. How has your experience been, and how has your coaching qualification, coaching education helped you to cope with the different environments?
Well, I told you I started my coaching in 1999, you know, and already 2001 I already started with UEFA B license, and that was long education, you know. 2006 I finished UEFA A, and 2016 I finished UEFA Pro license. In all that time I was I was working, and that is something what is very interesting in UEFA programs. You know, you must have some reference to even get in situation to get in the programs to go to start coaching. And after that, when you finish B license, like example, you must work in the club for next 2 years, so you get even the chance to go for the next level. And it's same with the pro license.
Excellent. So really here you see two coaches who started very early to invest into their coaching career. If you can put Tabiso started at the age of 16 and Sanyin at the age of 21. This is something we don't see a lot in Africa. You know, people usually consider coaching when probably they're towards the end of their career or as an alternative somewhere down the line. Tabiso, for you, how important was it to start early, and how do you think that experience has helped you now in your career?
For me, I mean, I think I was just lucky, you know, just to, again, my dad was the guy who was coaching the team. So I just fell right in. Everything was in front of my face. Whatever he did that was wrong, I always try to correct it. And that made me even want to learn more about coaching. But I think it's very, very important for young coaches who are coming up, not only to take coaching courses, but you also got to go watch other coaches. I always tell one of my friends in South Africa, like, hey, I know you're saying some of these coaches are not good, but you got to go watch to see how they do things different. You know, we all sometimes I look at the beautiful game, you know, Pep Guardiola does the same activities that we all do, but he might tweak it a little bit and make it challenging for his players. But like now with that doesn't mean you can do the same thing with the younger players. You know, we also need to learn how we coach young players and older players because that's two different things. And that's another big mistake that I've seen. Even myself, maybe I used to do it when I was younger. I've seen coaches. Of course, now you can get on YouTube, you watch a session, and then you go do the same session with the under nines when the session is for professional team. And that now some coaches think they're growing because they're trying to coach older players' activities when they should be coaching younger players' activities because it's totally different things. But to answer your question, I think it's very, very important for young coaches to get their coaching qualifications. And I know in Africa it's a struggle for coaches even have the resources to go to these coaching courses. I know CAF normally runs coaching courses, but sometimes those courses, you know, they never update when the course is. And I know there's also a couple of seminars that happen in Africa. And I think I'm going off topic here, but some of the seminars, they focus more on a European player than an African player. And I think that's a big, big difference. I think as an African coach, you kind of need to know your culture. You need to know the players that you're dealing with. I think that's what we talked about yesterday with Sanjin when he mentioned that as a coach, when he moved to Africa, he had to learn the culture. I think our coaches know the culture. Now it's just time for us to educate ourselves on how to coach our people with our own skill level and basic needs.
I think that you bring in something very important here, and which is continuing education. I know you possess several coaching licenses, mainly from the US, but you are continuing with your development as a coach. Can you describe this for us? Like what's available out there that you can use to develop yourself as a coach, both formally and also informally, boys?
Yeah, for me, I think it's very important for coaches, or let me just speak about myself, to empower yourself. You know, when I finished my A license, that did not mean, hey, I know everything. I'm still a young coach looking to learn. So, what I will do, I will also read a lot of books to educate myself. I'll go with some of my friends. You know, they invite me to run sessions because when I run sessions, I also learn different things. Another thing, I don't just coach boys, I coach boys and girls. So now I learn how to manage two different groups. Um, Coaching education, again, man, it's very important that we do take these courses. I know even right now I'm taking the UEFA C course. The information that they telling me is information that I already know, but there are a few things that I can pick from taking the course. Like, oh, okay, I didn't think about it this way, and I feel by doing that, that's how I'm gonna get better. Another thing that I always do when I go home, and even now that there's a lot of Zooms and all these social media platforms, I meet with some of my friends. We talk about the game because they want to know how I see the games, and I also want to know how they see the games in Africa or Europe, wherever they are. And that's all part of learning because we all see different things in different countries. So yeah, man, that's it. And as you also know, I host podcast. When I host my podcast, I always want to know about the coaches, how they got where they got to. So similar to what you're doing now, but I think it's very, very important to get your education. And once you get it, it doesn't mean you stop there. You gotta keep going and learn more. Whether it's giving back by teaching others, which is something that I do now, and I'm learning a lot as I'm teaching other coaches too.
Excellent, thank you. So, and what about you, Sanyin? I know you possess the highest coaching qualification in European football, and with the football being very Eurocentric, it's basically like the highest qualification in world football, and which is the UEFA Pro diploma. There are only about 10,000 people with these qualifications, and you started quite early, attained this qualification. How has that journey been, and how do you continue with your development as a coach? And how, for example, does UEFA or your national federation support you in these?
But first, I need to agree with Tabiso. We spoke already before about that one. My opinion is that we saw today in TV many coaches get opportunities to go in highest level of football, with the first team, very, very young, direct from finishing their active careers. And for me, that's totally nonsense because to be football player, even in the highest level, and to be coach is totally two different things, I started early my career, but just to understand, I spent 7 years working in my club Sarajevo with the youth, and through that time you finish the license, you learn. If you will not be every year better coach, you waste your time, After that, I make my first transfer. I go like professional coach in Bahrain, again 4 years, then Kuwait. And after 16 years, I get the opportunity and chance to work with the first team. So I really believe in the same time with the education and the experience and learning, you can be ready for that highest level and challenges what is in front of you. For my honest opinion, for me it was more difficult to work in the youth, especially with the guys who are in adolescent age from 15, 17, 19 years, it was very difficult because you are not only the coach who teach them basics of the football, you are even their parents, and you need to be for them all time there, and you need to recognize that things. And that was for me the hardest job, even I can say in the first team it's higher pressure, you lose 2-3 games, you stay without the job. Unfortunately, it's like that. Sometimes you don't have time to show all your quality, but again, you need to have the qualification, and you need to have that experience. You cannot teach yourself in the highest level of the football, simply not possible. So yeah, I believe that you must go through some levels, and especially what I think, I had the highest diploma and I spent a lot of years working, and to get that pro diploma, it was 2 years courses, and I needed to go in Hungary to spend 15 days there with Thomas Doll to watch Ferencváros trainings and make the book about the training methodology and about everything about the club before you represent that to the teachers, and you get your diploma. So all that through the education in Bosnia and Herzegovina, they push you that you open your eyes and go outside the box and see different cultures, different mentalities, different approaches to the football, because we are not all the same. I don't
We
hear
can
you.
hear you, man.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Here I hear the need for a lot of patience, a lot of putting in a lot of work as a coach to make sure you learn the ropes. Because the complaint we get a lot here, young coaches complain of a lack of opportunity for them, for example, to coach first team football. They say the industry is dominated by old guards, and in some cases by foreigners, and now that's at the elite level. What's your take on these boys, Kumalo?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for young guys, they need to put themselves in a situations where they can move forward into their coaching career. I mean, if you look at a player who's playing soccer right now, most players want to go to Europe. They want to go to these different places and make money or become better players. So they challenge themselves. So what I would say about coaches is, even our African coaches, I think we need to look outside the box, because most coaches, they just feel comfortable. Hey, I coach in Africa, I'm fine. They don't want to move forward. But what I like is I see guys like Pito Musimani, guys who are taking a challenge to coach outside of South Africa. I think we need more like that. And by doing that, now you're opening up doors for the young coaches. Now they can have opportunities to go to these different places. And if you watch Coach Pito, he takes two or three guys with him, or he took three guys with him to Egypt. By doing that, you're empowering some of these young coaches. I think that's what needs to happen. But also in Africa, we need to have a coaching education curriculum, and everywhere you go in Africa is different. I went to Mozambique early this year, and what I noticed in Mozambique is that the players, the coaches, they struggle with everything that somebody in the US doesn't think about. For example, the coaches, they don't have the balls. They don't have the facility. They're playing on a place that has rocks. The players don't have the boots. So the question becomes, how do you coach those guys? How do we help those guys? Because it's more than just coaching. It's all about the players, the coach, the neighborhoods, everything. But I think if we have the coaching education for people who are interested in coaching, it will help the coaches that want to move forward. This is something small that I did, trying to teach the coaches in Mozambique. Maybe it was like 10 or 15 coaches. I hosted like a 4v4 coaching course for them, just to teach them, but like just asking them about 4v4, because they don't think that way. They thinking 11v11, and this is another problem in Africa. We have kids U9 playing 11v11 on a big field. How many of those kids touch the ball during the game? I think we need to do like small sided games, and these are things that we're talking about. This is coaching education, because again, the same coaches that I'm talking about, they don't watch 4v4 games, 7v7 games, 9v9 games. All they watch is 11v11 games. And when they do watch it, it's Man City, Man United, Barcelona. And then they want to teach that to the young kids. I think that's a big problem. I think we need to have coaches, and also, coaches who are coaching in a professional setup can come and show young coaches how to coach, or take somebody as an older coach to kind of learn from you. I think that's what Sanjin said about the guy he talked about from the Kenyan team. He still studies from him. That's what we need to do, and we need to do more of that. And that's how the game is going to grow, and that's how coaches are going to get better.
Okay, so here we're already getting into the peculiarities of Africa. We have our own unique challenges. Sanyin, you spent 2 years here in Nairobi. What are some of the challenges you faced that you thought maybe you were unique to Africa or Kenya in this case? And how were you able to overcome this? And what opportunities did you explore?
But see, yeah, that 2 years, that's more than majority of foreign coaches when they came in Africa. They spent very little time. Yeah, I arrived in 2019. The season before that, I was in Slovakia with Brazilian Fluminense. That was the project they had in Slovakia. They sent their players from Brazil to learn the English way, European way of football, and it was good, the project. After that, I arrived on the call of Jonathan Jackson, who is the owner of the club. I arrived there, and in basic, we take the club from the scratch. In the second league, they were in the last game, they stay in the second league, and season after that, we were in the first season, we were promoted to the Premier League and very dominant. And in second year, we established the club like one respectable club and stable club in the Kenyan Premier League. And I believe that we really make huge impact on Kenyan football, because we had specific style of the play. I tried to transfer in the Nairobi City Stars the methodology of the training like in the Europe, and what is big difference from African football and here, it's not only the tactical discipline. The coaches like to say just tactical discipline, Yeah, in some way, yes, there is mistakes there. The reason is because there is no youth football, but also the methodology of the training, because in Europe it's more intense training, it's more demanding training, and when you compare that type of the training, when we implement that in Nairobi City Stars, we get really good results and we make really huge progress. I want to go back on the last subject also. What is interesting also, what I implement in Nairobi City Stars together with, I must say, great support of the owner, Jonathan Jackson, and CEO, Patrick Corrier, Samson Otieno, he was coordinator. It was my coaching staff. When I arrived there, great guys, I must say. Kenyan people are really, really kind, and I had amazing experience there. And they were there ready to help, but nobody from coaches had any kind of diploma, any kind of the license. I understood that because, it's hard life in Kenya, it's day by day, surviving, they like to say. And we talked about that one, and in the end, I convinced together with the people from the club, the owner, that we need to do something about that. I was their mentor, and I represent them all the plan and programs, what I work and how I work. But like I told you, you need to start from the basic. You cannot just come in the highest level of the football and that you fully understand the way how I work and what we do in that trainings. That was good point, because after that the club stayed behind that coaches, and some coaches finished C license. My assistant John is already in the B license, so that's some progress, and that's a good way to help Kenyan coaches, to work about their education. And then if they have good personalities, good coaches, like mentors who are ready, I say ready to share their knowledge, it will be the right way, to come for the one highest level.
Yeah. We can hear you, man.
Sorry, I'd gone on mute. What do you think can be done to, for example, improve coaching education in Kenya or in Africa? You mentioned when you arrived at Nairobi City Stars, you found a group of coaches that did not have any qualifications, and one of the challenges you said is the accessibility. What do you think can be done to improve the level of coaching education in Africa?
But see, they don't have qualification, but that guys there, they were very dedicated to the job. They showed determination to learn. And they didn't have from who to learn. That was the problem. Really, I faced many difficulties, I must be honest, from the first moment I arrived there, like I spoke with Abiso yesterday, from the facilities, from the basic equipment for the training, everything. But by the time we managed to make all that things, what was crucial for the coaches, that they were ready to learn, and now they are in that process of the licensing. And I believe that by the time they will get their diplomas, and they will they will go for some higher level. What is, for my opinion, the biggest problem in Kenya, I don't know I'm not sure for other countries, but that is that youth football doesn't exist. The first, you don't have facilities, you don't have pitches for training. I think it's 3 stadiums in Nairobi city with 5-6 million people, that's crazy. And you don't have youth football. In Europe, the UEFA demands from the clubs, you must have youth football, under 13, under 15, under 17, under 19. If you don't have youth football, you cannot play. First team cannot play Champions League, and simply they push the clubs that they must invest in the youth. Also, what is difference between FIFA and UEFA support that clubs. I think for every year they give 30,000 euro for each club. So that's also some benefit, but I think there is no in Africa. But again, I believe with this good projects like now start Nairobi City Stars, and I hope they will soon make that pitches because they have that in their mind, and organize football school. That's the basic to have good league, basic to have good clubs, basic to have good national team, because without good work in the youth, it's not possible to have good football in your country.
Great. You had something to add there, boys. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think youth football is needed. By having youth football, then you have coaches. By having coaches, now you have to create coaching education for these coaches to become better coaches. I mean, if you look at it, if you go to a school, those teachers, hopefully they are qualified to teach what they're teaching. But in Africa, of course, we have kids playing soccer or football because they love playing the game. They end up falling into traps with guys who are just guys who love the game. They just happen to coach the team. And guess what? That kid is missing out on becoming a better player or development. And then next thing you know, just because he's big and fast and strong, he gets a professional contract. Then once he gets into the pros, everybody gets surprised. Oh, this guy doesn't know how to trap the ball. This guy doesn't, have the game intelligence. I think we need to also talk to the people who own these clubs. Hey, you as owners, we also need to invest in young coaches. You want coaches, then you have to invest in your own people. Yes, it's cool to bring people from outside of the country, but I think it's also good to invest in our own people. But to have youth football where grassroots coaches can learn, it's the most important thing, so they can work their way up. And I think that will help.
Excellent. Thank you for your addition there, boys. Now, just to shift a bit to recent happenings here in Kenya. We had our federation president say that we lack the talent in the country. I don't know, what was your experience while you were here, Sanyin, in terms of the talent in Kenya? Just personal comments in this case.
See, in one way, I can agree with him that there is not enough talented players, but in the other way, I cannot agree. Kenya played 2 games with Mali. That's not high level quality teams. Uganda, Rwanda, Mali. So in that way, I don't agree. There is talented players in Kenya. The problem is this one. The players who came for me in the first team, they don't have basics in football. You understand me? That's the reason we mentioned the grassroots. We mentioned the qualified coaches who will teach them 5, 7 to 10 years before they arrive in the first team. But still there is talented players, and I will give you one example. That's young Timothy Uma Babu from Nairobi City Stars. I signed that guy with 16 years, and we hurried to sign professional contract because he was just playing in the street and in Chapadimba. You understand me? And we signed the contract with him, and last season, I give him opportunity and chance with 16, 17 years. He played approximately 10 matches in the first 11, and all other matches he entered from the bench. He's a young guy, he needs experience. But why I'm telling you this one, that's one from million, if you understand me. You must have that basics before they come for the first team. I think that guy will be new Vanayama, if I can say something like that, because I work in Bosnia national team in the highest level. Like we played the games against Portugal. There is the Diaz from Manchester City play now, or Jota from Liverpool, Felix from Atletico Madrid. We beat them in Bosnia. We lost that game in Madeira. So the players from national team Bosnia also play in the big leagues in Europe, and I can compare very well the quality. I never saw the talent like that in that age. Now you need to polish them. You understand me? I believe if you provide that facilities, without that it's not possible. If you provide that education for the coaches, that will have huge impact on your clubs, and it will give great opportunity for that young people to find their way in their life. Like this, it's just by coincidence. And even the scouts from the Europe, they don't want even to come to watch the games in Kenya, because they know there is no youth football. Any quality player, he play one good season, he direct go for Zambia, Tanzania. If he's lucky to go in Europe, he achieved his dream. So that's the things you must work on, and I know it's hard. I believe for that one, the Kenya Football Federation need to have support from the government, from the business people, to work all together to make that positive impact, just to give the opportunity for better future of that children, to move them from the streets, because if you give them chance to enjoy in this beautiful game, somebody from them will find their way and they will succeed in the life. And of course, then they will be able to even help their families and the people around them, their friends, So it's the one bigger picture. It's not just one thing. What I believe in Kenya, you need to change.
Go ahead, boys. You have something to add on this?
Yeah, no, I was going to add. I mean, I think it's very, very tough for an African player just to go into Europe. I mean, we look at a guy like Stanley Okumu. Stanley Okumu was playing in South Africa. Things did not work out in South Africa. He went and came and played with us in the U.S. and he was playing in like 4th division. He was not making money, but the thing that I liked about the guy, it was that he was very focused. He knew what he wanted before he became what he wanted. So what I'm trying to say is this: some people want to be professionals, but they wait to sign a professional contract, then they want to be professionals. You become a professional before you become a professional, meaning that before you become that person, you have to live like a professional. Same thing with the coaches. You have to study, you have to believe, you have to read all this material, watch other coaches. Back to Okumu. Now Okumu is playing in Europe. So he had to go through all these hurdles by working hard. And I know that is not easy for Africans, because we always have to deal with something. There's always something that we have to go through to get to where we want to go to. So for the young coaches, young players, never give up. You got to keep going forward and keep pushing.
Thank you.
I had
Thank you.
something.
Yeah, sure, Sanin, go ahead.
And I want to tell you my experience from Nairobi City Stars. That's the reason, in the club we have really great relations, and that players in Nairobi City Stars was so humble guys, and I was delighted. I never had even smallest problem in the 2 years, and that's not normal when you work with the football team, 35 people there in the pitch, and it's not normal that you don't have problems. But I was really surprised about the way how they are humble and determined to succeed in their life. And I'm still in the contact with them, and I'm trying to help them to make some connections. They get the opportunity to to get some chance to go in the Europe and show their quality, because I can tell you for sure in Kenya in this moment there is few players who can sure play in some higher level, and even in the Europe. So I just believe they missed the luck to find the people who can open the bridge for them, to find a way to get that real opportunity.
Okay. I think one thing that has stood out for me in these conversation is the importance of grassroots and the importance of having the right structures in place in Kenya or in Africa. And even one of our viewers says a lack of youth development structure is a huge problem for Kenyan football. Can you please just describe for me what do these structures look like, and how can we develop coaches as well to support these youth structures? And I'll start with you, boys. You played in South Africa, then moved to the US at the age of 16. What was the difference? What did you observe that was different?
I mean, first of all, the difference was, I mean, just a family home background. I don't have the boots to go play. I use my school shoes to play with, and then my mom is screaming at me that, hey, I messed up my shoes. They have a hole in them. Now I can go to school. Little things like that forces you to kind of think, okay, soccer, is this what I want to do? But the way I grew up was different. I used to play soccer before school started in the streets. And then at lunchtime, we'll play soccer. After school, we'll play soccer. And then I had to go to training. But I was lucky enough, the training setup I was in, it was more organized by people like Farouk Khan. I don't know if you know anything about Iceland Park. There's a place that's called Iceland Park where like the top players from South Africa used to go. It was very organized. But then I had the opportunity to come to the US. And then when I got to the US, I mean, there's facility everywhere. The crazy thing when I first got here is that you did not see people playing soccer everywhere. All you saw was people playing basketball everywhere. And like now, if you look at the two, if you go back to Africa, you'll see kids playing soccer everywhere. But like I went to South Africa last year, it's not like it used to be. Not a lot of kids play soccer anymore. One thing I can say about the US and what I'm currently doing now, I think it's a good thing because I'm surrounded by structures. So what they're doing right now, you have people like the US Soccer Foundation, they're involved in the communities. And in America, there's a lot of different people from different countries. So I'm in Detroit. In Detroit, you have Hispanics, you have Arabic people, Africans, and the city of Detroit is trying to bring in mini pitches, the small little pitches, so people can be active and play the game. Now, with that being said, these people have a grant to use to promote these things. Whereas if in Africa, we get a grant, somebody gets the money and they take it, you don't know what happened with the money. So those are some of the things that cause us to always go back and not move forward. Another thing that's kind of cool about what's happening here is that in the youth setup, and I'm talking about coaching now. As a coach, you cannot coach a team if you don't have certain qualifications, unless it's just rec soccer or whatever it is. But if you're gonna play in a competitive setup, so for example, if you're coaching a 4v4 team, you have to have a D license. If you're coaching 7v7, you have to have a C license. And I think that model forces coaches to go, hey, you know what? I want to coach a 9v9 team. So I have to go get a B license, because if you don't have a B license, you cannot coach that team. So I think we also need setups like that. And I'm not sure if it can work in Africa because, I can just wake up and go start my own team and coach kids. Nobody will tell me anything. But I think it needs to be like an African thing where we know, hey, you can only do this if you have these qualifications. And by doing that, we're forcing more of our people to learn. And yes, some of our people don't want to learn. But if you really want to do it, you will do whatever it takes to become a better coach and to empower the young people that are coming after you.
Excellent. We'll just now look at some of our question. We'll start with the latest in again from Judith Macharia. I said, what main strategies would the panelists advise Kenyan football clubs adopt to build a better relationship with grassroots clubs and academies? And I think this question is because grassroots football in Kenya seems to develop independent of the elite clubs. People are starting academies all over the country. I think this is the same in other African countries, but they're not necessarily connected to the clubs. So from your experience at Nairobi City Stars, for example, Sanin, how would you advise clubs or elite level clubs to work with grassroots football communities?
Let's see, professional work in football always have same target, no matter where you work in the world, but how to achieve them, that depends from infrastructure, from facilities, from the culture, from the mentality of the players. And, wherever you work, it's different, and you need to adapt to the situation. That we already tried in Nairobi City Stars, and I told you first problem that we faced, it was facility for training. Even first team, we struggled sometimes to find the pitches where we will train, and that was difficult. How in that situation you can organize your youth, to organize with under 19, under 17, that's you need more pitches and more time to train, that was very difficult, and that is idea from Jonathan Jackson, that he built the pitches and the stadium. Unfortunately, he didn't find space in Nairobi to start the project. Even he was ready to invest his money. It's a little difficult to find the space where you can build that one. But that's number one step. Even the small pitches with artificial grass, it will be perfect for the start. So the children just can start with that football. You can't develop the young players, and it's same like you jump over primary and secondary school and you go for the college. It's not possible. Sometimes in the life they will miss that one. You must organize for them good facilities for the work, no matter even if they don't have shoes. They must have the balls, they must have good pitch for the training, and they must have good coaches. That's very important. So that subject is very, very connected. You don't have one problem, you have 3-4 problems, but is connected. The clubs, they don't have their youth. What is for me, I don't understand that one. I told you, in Europe you can't have first team if you don't have youth. Even here in my country, if you want to be coach under 19, under 17, or under 15, who play Premier League competition in all country for the youth football, the coaches must have UEFA I license, So that means they already need to go through that studies and to prove themselves like the good coaches, to get the chance to work with that youth players, because like Teresa told, it's totally different coaching for the first team, for the under 19, for under 17, 15, 13, 11. It's totally different type of trainings, and what is your targets, and if you don't know what you need to do in that specific age, you can make, for my opinion, big disaster for some children.
Excellent. We'll go to our next question from our good friend Dev Kumar Parma. Says, there's a lack of understanding of how much work is required as a coach. How important is it to educate others in football about the difficulties a coach faces to help the whole system grow? I think I'll feel this to both of you, starting with you, Tabiso.
Yeah, again, coaching education is very important, and as you see, like now, things are changing now. We cannot do things the way we used to do back in the old days. And like I said, the coaches who used to coach me, people who played professional, they knew a lot of things, and they helped me become a better player. But again, I found myself disagreeing with them as I got older. The modern coaches, meaning the coaches now, the young coaches, even if you look at guys like Pep Guardiola, he's studying like basketball, rugby, how they do things, because why? He wants to become a better coach. And I know the guy is asking about, let me read the question. I mean, I know in Africa, a lot of coaches faces a lot of difficulties. And I talked about the equipment. You know, if you don't have sponsor to get equipment, I know with our foundation, I always go to South Africa. We give away, for example, one team, we give away 20 balls. If I give those guys 20 balls in January, by March, those same team, they need balls because our motto or what we believe in, every kid should have a ball. Whereas if in Africa you have one ball for 25 players, all you can do with those guys is fitness and maybe play a little bit of a scrimmage at the end. But there is a lot of difficulties. Just talking about just balls and cones and stuff that is needed. And what Sanjin is saying, if in Europe, you know, our professional teams also need to come on board and help the grassroots teams to grow, because I think that could be a feeder system. If I know I'm a professional team and where in my neighborhood there's a lots of kids who are always playing the beautiful game, I find somebody who's educated about the game, get that person to coach the game. If there's a good player, then that player moves on up to come to our team. And I think that's a way we can grow. But with that being said, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard because, as you know, I don't want to go into this conversation, but a lot of corruption in Africa, Europe, everywhere. Those things come in place and things start to change. But I think if we do things the right way and we have the right people in place to educate our young coaches and right people in these teams who want to see the younger teams grow, then we can be more successful. And I also think that we as Africans, we need to also go outside and see how things are done outside instead of just keeping everything in Africa, you know?
I think just to link that to there's some questions that have come in that I want to fill to you.
Can I answer on this question also, because that was very interesting question what we get, and I think it was meant about the office. You know, we speak all time about the players and the facilities and difficulties what face coach. You know, but also coach face the problems with the people who work in the office, because it's not just the coach. You know, you need to educate also the people who work in the office, the presidents, directors, the members of the board, you know, because that is the people who bringing decision. And many times if you don't have right support from them, sometimes your hands are tight, you know. I was lucky that the people with who I work, they were ready to admit that they are in some things new in football, and they were ready to learn, and together we make some really good things. But that right approach, you know, to learn and to give full support, bring us to one higher level, you know, and that's the reason we make this success what we made it. So yeah, I think it's very important that when we speak about education of the coaches, in Kenya, Football Federation also organize education for team managers, but I know already there is, but also for education for the presidents, for directors, and all the people who are involved in the football, to better understand the game and to better understand the needs of the players and the coaches there who work direct in the pitch.
Okay. I think we've lost Boys, but he should be coming back soon. As we conclude, there's a question here. I need to understand how equalization works. You know, if a coach has a UEFA B license, is back. I think how does it work? If a coach has a UEFA B, when it comes to Kenya, at what level will the federation place him? Is it a CAF B or a CAF A? I know there is no system as such of translating these qualifications.
I can answer on that one, because in Slovakia, when I was working for Brazilian Fluminense, there was coaches who worked from Brazilian Fluminense with me, and one coach was Gustavo Leal. He was now with Brazilian national team in Olympic Games. They won golden medal, you know, and I know he had same the problem. He finished CAF A, and it was not possible. They didn't want to accept in the UEFA the diploma, and I know that FIFA and UEFA wanted to start some negotiation. That UEFA want to send some teachers, mentors to come to evaluate the program, how they work here, so then they make qualification. In this moment in Europe, they don't accept the CAF license.
Yeah, so I think CAF licenses are not accepted in Europe, but of course, being a more superior qualification, UEFA licenses can be used in Africa, and actually, I think they are more respected, which is maybe another conversation for another day. But tying in these with another question from the same Gabriel, any hopes of African countries having its own indigenous football philosophy? Boys, if you can take this one, something like the CAF licenses, how much of indigenous knowledge, indigenous skill do they incorporate in their local coaching qualifications? Like you said, the styles of play are very different in the different continents.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it has to be different for each country in Africa, depending on how the coaches want to go about it. But I know in South Africa it's different compared to teams in Nigeria. They play different styles. The players are different. If you look at South African players, they're not that tall. They're smaller players. I think you need to create a curriculum on those players. And then if you go to Nigeria, you got these big guys. It's got to be a curriculum about them. But overall, I think there's also needs to be a coaching course that's just for African countries, depending on how big coach wanna get, coaching outside of South Africa. So this one is a tough question because I live in America, and I know in America, in each state, some states have different curriculums for each state. Like I'm in Michigan, we play 7v7. You go across the border in Ohio, they play 8v8. Just how they do things. And I think we as South African, we need to have our own curriculum. And the South African guys, they have flair. They like to do the tricks on the ball, all these other things. We need to create a curriculum that kind of talks about that. We need to bring the European mentality and make it like, hey, this is the way it's supposed to be. I think we can steal some ideas from Europe and try to mix them in and create a South African player.
Excellent.
Well, I can add here, from my experience in Nairobi City Stars, I told you, I transferred there the methodology of the training, like we work here in Europe, and I work on methodology of Raymond Verheyen. We worked that on UEFA Pro license, and it was special methodology, and it's more intensive training, and you simply, my target was when I introduced that to my players, I wanted to prepare them to be ready to face difficulties if they get the chance in the future to go in Europe to highest level, to don't get surprised. They will be ready for that challenges. That was, for my opinion, very, very important, to prepare them for that next step in their careers.
Yeah. And if I can also add, man, I know, when I first moved to the United States, so I went to a college. And when I got to the college, I used to play with different players from like different countries, Trinidad, Africa, all these other places. Yeah, with me, I was very skillful on the ball. Then you find some guy from West Africa who's huge. The reason I'm bringing this story up is we went to the weight room, and the guy who looks all huge could not even lift the 10-pound dumbbell because why? He was not used to lifting weights. It was all natural muscle. All these guys there was like push-ups, sit-ups, and the coaches did not understand that. Now in America, they believe more in strength training, blah blah blah, and that's why I'm saying I think it's very important to know where you live and create a curriculum around those people, because if you're going to try to create a curriculum about European soccer when in Africa we don't have all these other things, it's going to be a disaster.
Excellent. Thank you. You want to add something, Sanyin?
Yeah, I want to add about the African player, what we spoke, and I will tell from my experience from Kenya. The African player have that special natural talent. You have sometimes feeling they dance in that pitch. They give you that special creativity, so you enjoy individually. They are very strong. When you add that their natural power, the fitness and the endurance what they have naturally, you get the players who every club in the Europe they want to bring. So I really believe their talents need just someone to guide them, and it will be possible, to see more African players in the Europe to play in the highest level, because that types of the training methodologies they will learn very fast, and even the fitness, the strength training, they will learn by the time, they will adapt for that one. But that natural talent what they have, I think it's the shame you don't provide them better conditions for the work to develop more and to polish the diamonds what you have there in Africa.
Okay, excellent. And as we come to an end, really, we can take maybe this is a young coach here in Nairobi asking how many licenses do I need to get to be fully accredited coach? And I'm asking this because I'm a young coaching a young team. Maybe just some mentorship or advice for this coach, Sanyin.
But see, in Europe here, you start from UEFA C now, UEFA B, UEFA A, and UEFA Pro. That's you need to have 2 years difference between that license, minimum 2 years, sometimes 4, 6, to get the chance to go for next level. I think they start here from CAF D, so you must start from the beginning and go step by step. And I really believe it will be crucial for any advice for any young coach. It's to continue with licensing. It's to do alone research and development, to read the books, to search some new things, what they can see, find, and also to find a mentor. Because even today, I spoke a lot with my friends and the coaches all over the world, and we always try to help each other. Whatever is new in the football, in the top level, we try to share between us, So in one way, we become more rich, like the coaches, and unselfish. We share that knowledge to the people for the benefit of the football.
All right. Excellent. We have run slightly over time. We're at 1 hour 1 hour 5 minutes. Sorry, and I will take these opportunities just to get your concluding remarks, so that we don't keep our audience for too long. But thank you very much for the good engagement from our audience. We really appreciate you tuning in. So there's a question here that maybe we can use it as we conclude, and this is really the gist of our show. This is the Africa Football Business Show. It says here, most coaches at our local levels don't know that their actions on and off the pitch have a direct financial impact to clubs. How can we help empower these coaches know such aspects? So you can answer this question, Sanyin, and then give us your concluding remarks, and then the same for you, Boise.
Pasi, I had the opportunity to work with Kenyan coaches, and I really have just good opinion about that people. They really respect the club who invest in them and give them opportunity to work. And how my impression was that they were dedicated and they were ready to learn, and in some way with their good work to redempt to the club, because you must respect that opportunity which club gives you. The owner need to invest his own money, and of course everybody expects from you results. That results can be just by the points in Premier League or also in development of the young talents. Because every club today need to produce some talents, so hoping in the future that with some transfers and sales, you will again get back that money to invest more in the football in Africa. So I believe there is, I didn't notice in my club with my coaches that there was lack of desire to work on themselves, to make the progress, to succeed in their coaching careers. And I was happy with that one. What I saw, I talking about Nairobi City Stars.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Sanyin, for joining us this evening. Over to you, boys. You can answer this question as you give your concluding remarks.
Yeah, I was gonna say about the financial problems. I mean, this is not just for coaches; it's also for the players. There's life after football. So I think while you still playing, while you still coaching, you need to invest. You also need to invest in yourself. And I know the question also asked about how we empower these coaches. I think we need to empower these coaches. For me, if I was an owner of a club, I will make sure that every time a coach comes in, I'll also send them somewhere so they can learn other things. That's a way of empowering coaches. And make another thing that I'll also make sure that this coach does is teach other coaches that are working under him. Like Sanjin said, we took some guys from Kenya, and I think that's how we can grow, and he can also help others to grow. And the same coach that I help to empower, he can also be the other coach that helps others to empower. So I think by doing little things like that, no egos, just remember what we're doing this for. It's for the kids. It's for what we love. It's a beautiful game. So empowerment, it's a big word for me. Like I said earlier in the show, I also like to help my people. And I think now it's easy. Just look at how we all get together, just doing a video, just get on social media. You can do Zoom. Some people do Instagram and just talk football. And by doing those little things, that's how we empower each other and we learn from each other. So, and again, thank you for your time. And I really had a good time chatting football.
Well, thank you very much, Tabiso Boise Kumalo and Sanyin Alajic, for making the time to talk to us today, for being our special guests on this special edition of the Africa Football Business Show. A huge thank you to all who joined us today. The engagement was really good, and we hope you took away some value from these presentations from our excellent guests. From us at the Football Foundation for Africa, we wish you a good evening wherever you are, or a good afternoon, or a good day, depending on where you're joining us from today. And just before we conclude, as usual, we like to mention the people who make these possible, and that is our partners. And for today's session, we had OTB Africa, See Beyond Leadership Forum, Palma Sports, and iSport LAN. And just a special note regarding iSport LAN, we have an ongoing collaboration with them. They're offering sports management courses, and through the FA collaboration, you can get a discount. Feel free to visit their website, and if you need more information, you can reach out to us. So thank you very much, everybody, for this evening, and we look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks' time, where we look at entrepreneurship and innovation in football. So until then, keep well, folks, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.